Meteorologists are at a loss to explain what is causing this weather.
Mexican officials closed the border.
JK was battered by the largest hailstorm.
A tornado in Los Angeles. There is a wall of water coming towards New York City.
The Day After Tomorrow, May 28th, rated PG-13.
And welcome to 24 Inside. All right, it's a momentous occasion, and we are brought to you by The Day After Tomorrow, which premieres worldwide May 28th. Now, we have just seen the season finale of 24. What did you guys think? Enjoyed it, huh? Oh, my gosh. Some things were wrapped up, some things were left dangling. Well, because it's the last episode of 24 for many months, it also means that this is the last episode of 24 Inside, and we have a fantastic show for you. If you haven't seen the finale, you might want to turn off your computer because we are spoilers. We are going to talk about what happened, what has been happening by the people who are part of the show. But first, somebody who couldn't be here in person but wanted to say something.
Hi, my name is Kiefer Sutherland, and I wanted to take the time to thank all the fans from 24 Inside. We can't thank you enough. We love making this show, and we know we couldn't do it without you. I hope you guys have a great summer. I hope you enjoyed Season 3, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks a lot.
All right. That was very nice. Big star. Okay, well, we are going to talk to a couple of the people who are very integral to the show. First off, you know him as Wayne Palmer. Has he been helping his brother, the president, or is there something fishy going on? The actor who plays him, D.B. Woodside. Good to see you. With all the crazy things that happen on the show. Well, it's a team of writers. We're going to meet one of them, Steve Kronish. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for being here. Have a seat, you guys. Okay, first off, Chase's hand. How did that come about? Were you guys just like too much coffee one afternoon and you're like...
It wasn't coffee. We just want you to know he is embarking on a new career as a concert pianist. So everything's going to be. It was it was one of those things that as soon as somebody said, well, he should strap that thing on his wrist, the rest of it just seemed fairly obvious.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of that thing. So
yeah.
I thought that I thought Chase handled that great. I mean, it's one thing not to know that you're going to have your arm chopped off. It's another thing to know what's coming and get prepared for it. You know, the way he did the tourniquet stuff, I thought really
Yeah, I thought that was quite
well.
clever. I was sort of, when they showed him looking over towards the fire stuff, I was like, so wait a minute, is Jack supposed to grab the fire extinguisher and smash his arm? How's that going to work?
We didn't think of that, actually. But
I had a problem focusing, clearly.
It was interesting when I was watching you guys watch the episode, the reaction as soon as that axe appeared in the background. I mean, everybody was going, "Oh God," you know. So we argued about it a little bit in terms of whether that was the right way to handle it, and whether from a standards perspective. But I think people, you know, we didn't have any trouble with Fox, and I think from your reaction, it seemed to worked pretty well. It got the juices flowing anyway.
Yeah. Well, okay, I have a script, and this is apparently, you put it on red so that it can't be photocopied? Very top secret?
Yeah, that was the final script of the year, and the reason we did it only in red was that if we saw red pages flying around the office, we would know that someone had been careless about the script, and also the scripts were all numbered, and each person got a number. Yeah. So if your number script was found lying out in the men's room, then your arms would get cut off.
Yeah, there you go. So have you been worried about that? If you ever have, script pages lying around your apartment and friends come over or something?
No, I was actually really good about that. So, no, I didn't have that problem.
Yeah. Were you surprised at some of the twists and turns that your character took this season?
Not so much, because when I first came onto the show, the first thing that Joel said to me is, said, "I'm very, very happy to have you here, but I just want you to know, your character's a good guy, but he's a mother, you know." So so that set me off and going for the entire year.
Yes. No, it is interesting and complex that way. Now, you joined as a writer this season.
Correct.
So was that hard then when you're like, I've got it. How about he comes in on a horse and they're like, no, we don't do horses on the show. I mean,
Well, there was a lot of, did you see season 2? Did you see season 1? So there was a lot, and it still happens that, you'll come up with something and they say, guys, we did that, the first year, we did that the second year. Frankly, a lot of it is trying to put a different spin on things you've done or come close to doing.
Yeah.
But I want to say that, DB's character was, in some respects, I think, difficult for an actor. It's always hard to play a good guy, it seems to me. Bad guys are easy.
But he has evil in him.
No, and he was tough. And I think the thing that we wanted to do, though, was to give the president a character whose ultimate loyalty would be unquestioned. And the president had been hurt by other people around him in previous seasons, and we wanted to give him a guy who he could fight with and argue with, but who he would always know would take a bullet for him.
Right.
And that was Wayne.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I would label him as evil. I think I might label him as overzealous.
Well, he's a little power hungry, though, no?
I don't think he's power hungry when it comes to his brother.
Okay. All right. Well, with a question that relates to that, Philippa Gates in the audience. Hello. Okay. She has a question for you, DB. You've had the chance to play a wonderfully complex character. What was it like to join the ensemble this season? Was it hard to pick it up, or?
No, actually, no. It was fantastic. I mean, they were great to me the first day that I was there, and I think the first day that I met Kiefer, he came right over to me and said, "Listen, I just want you to know, if there's ever anything that's not working here, change it. Talk to people."
He said that?
That's he said that's how we operate here. We're really a family. We don't just say that. And as long as you keep your eye focused on the story, and it's always about the story here, then whatever ideas you have, we will take into consideration.
Do you do that? Do the actors help change the storyline?
Well, they make suggestions.
And how often are you like, go to your trailer?
I think that we were lucky because we had a group of actors who we believed were never approaching this from a standpoint of ego. It wasn't about how do I make my character bigger or my involvement more significant. It was usually, there were a lot of times when an actor would come in and say, maybe I shouldn't even be in this scene.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't, there's really...
work on the show.
It was a very unusual thing to have people come in and say, I'm really not an integral part of this thing. It would be better if I wasn't there. We had... So when they came in with suggestions, we really listened because we knew it was coming from a place of, let's make the show better, not me.
Can you give us an example of something an actor suggested that you guys used in the show?
No.
Maybe you do.
Yeah, I can give you many examples. I think there was one day where Dennis and I were doing a scene together. I don't remember which scene it was. It was being directed by John Cassar, who's my favorite director.
He was here last
on
week.
this show.
Yeah.
Also, Ian is also another great one. But we had the scene, and I said to John, I said, you know what? I don't think that I need to say all this. I know it's great writing, and it makes my actor's ego, feel good. But quite honestly, just from watching the story, I don't think I need to say all this. I think that we can cut this. And John kind of stepped back and was like, okay.
great.
You know, he's great. That works for me. But it's about the story over there, and I
Right.
think that's what most of the actors love.
Well, it's very story-driven. It's a great story. Okay, now an email from Spider in Chicago for you, Steve. The press has reported that Tony, Michelle, and Chase are not signed on for season 4. Who will be back for sure?
Well, we know it'll be Kiefer. And after that, we don't know.
Well, they're signed. Are they not? They could be signed as like
They
guest
may,
star,
they
like
may
Sherry
come,
was.
They may
or-
come back as recurring characters. The only regular that we know of is Jack, and so.
It's all right. I was never a regular. So,
Yeah, right. No.
I'm
Okay, a question for you, email from Melanie, Virginia, DB. The scene in the finale where Wayne tells Palmer that Sherry and Julia are dead is very emotional. It must be great to play against Dennis Haysbert. Yeah, he is a great actor. You guys have great scenes together.
Dennis is great. Dennis and I kind of hit the ground running. I mean,
Yeah.
we just started off from the first day, just personally getting along very well, and I think we were also able to suggest things to each other about whatever scene of the day we were working on. Dennis is great. He's just a very, very spiritual person, very grounded, very, very compassionate and caring. Really is.
Okay, we have an audience question from Seth, which I think kind of your question's been answered here. It's Steve says, is it possible you would ever consider killing Jack Bauer? Because who could replace him?
I suppose if
Keep wanting to go make some movies.
if our ratings plummeted, I mean, I don't know. I think that if we knew that a particular season was going to be our last, I don't know. We might think of that, but I also think that there's something about that character that there's a solitary nature to the guy. It comes as a function of the job. We've made a big point of that if you're going to do this job, you sort of sacrifice the normal family involvements
Which was a great scene at the end when we finally see him break down because he goes through, he's been shot at his former boss and cuts off, Chase's hand.
Right.
Did you feel like, okay, it's time to see the other sides of him?
Well, we are working actually on a storyline for him that has a bit of romance in it for season 4. And I think that because I think the interesting thing is to see a guy, get real close to those things that we all want in our lives, but because of what he does, he may not quite get there.
Right. Yeah. Well, he doesn't get much sleep. No. Email from 16-year-old Mr. K from Montreal. Steve, why can't Jack Bauer ask the president to drop the charges against Tony? After all, Palmer does owe him a lot. Now, I'm sure Wayne would advise him against that. But.
Yes, Wayne would. Wayne would say he needs to go to prison.
I know.
Well,
would. Politically, it's politically
but
it would be.
now Palmer could go to prison, no? With a cover-up? I guess we'll know. He just might.
Well, no, because no one's going to find out about it. So.
But this is what I'm talking about. Don't you have blood on your hand? Because you were like, oh, Julia,
Yes, he does. But the way that I look at it is that Wayne sees his brother as the greater good, and I think his brother inspires him and gives him hope for the country.
I just think he might get it. He's going to get it. It's going to be traced back to him.
I don't think there's any way.
All right. Well, the email.
Very good.
Right. You're very good. Which brings up this. Stan in Los Angeles emails, DB, what background did you give Wayne to make him know the seamier types, like who do the dirty work, like Foxton?
You know what I thought about is I thought about this guy who's so overly political. He's an animal, and I don't think that you come that way. I think you're born that way. So I think that he probably, when he was much younger, thought about, one day I'd like to be the president, so why don't I go into the military? I'm sure he spent some time in the military, and I think there were things that kind of turned his stomach, him being who he is, but still gave him, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but gave him a window into a world that he
Well, he's kind
couldn't
of
be a part of.
That guy's kind of his, G. Gordon Liddy.
Yeah, there's a way to look at it, yeah.
There's a little Watergate element there. Okay, audience question from Michael Welsh. Hi, Michael. Okay, to either of you, and I was wondering about this myself, is Sherry really dead?
I'll say this, okay?
What?
On the day that Sherry was shot,
Yeah.
we made sure that she was shot in the stomach. 2 places. So that they always have the opportunity to bring her back in some kind of way if they want to. So I don't know. She looked dead to me, but
Yeah.
She looked dead to me, too.
I gotta say, you two are really, you know, not to trash other people who've been here, but you guys are so much more forthcoming. It's really great. All right, an email question from Brittany Kula in Cleveland. DB, well, did you like seeing Sherry die? Well, we don't know if she really did.
well, yeah, but no. I think people have this idea that Wayne's heartless. I don't think he's heartless. I just think that he's just
Trying to keep the presidency together.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the guy that you need by your side to get things accomplished at that level. He had a relationship with Sherry. I think Sherry was almost probably like a second mother to him. I think he learned a lot of his games from Sherry. So
Well,
I think
yeah.
he had a lot of affection for Sherry. So no, he would never want to see her.
I think there was a lot of similarity, I think, between those two characters in that they were both totally focused on David Palmer.
Yes.
And making sure that he was going to stay, to get to the presidency, and that he was going to stay in it. And I think they shared that bond.
The only thing that separates them is a very thin line of Wayne wants to do everything to keep David in power, and Sherry wants to do everything to get him out of power. I think
Unless she's part of the power.
unless she's part of it, yeah.
But I thought that scene that really showed that she was, before the finale, that she was still in love with him. When she's crying, when she wants to get back
believe
together
so,
with him.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually believe that.
I think that there was something about she was not capable of completely divorcing him, you know, on an
Yeah.
emotional level.
Yeah.
That went beyond her power, her position. It was him.
Now, this question kind of relates to something I was wondering about. It's an email question from Rain. It says, Steve, season 3 has brought about the loss of Nina, Chappelle, and Sherry. Does every major character's exit have to involve death? And what I'm thinking, a lot of the exits have been crazy woman, like the one who killed Saunders and Julia. We had a lot of the crazy woman killing. Not that it's a feminist issue, but...
Well,
But this is Los Angeles.
Oh, hey now, man. I'm from CC. I'm from CC. I'm a local. Don't make me hurt you, DJ.
and the writers are all married men.
Right.
So,
You've just said yes, dear, one too many times, right?
no, I think, you know, yeah, death, we dealt with the death issue a lot. I mean, it seemed like we killed a lot of people, but then again, we also had quite a few people in the audience, I know, who just, as these people, didn't believe. You know, we got a lot of mail about Nina. You know, Nina's not really dead, and
Yeah.
he said, you know, she took 4 slugs. I think she's dead, but they don't buy it. So that's good. I mean, I think it shows that they're into it.
They're definitely very into it. Okay, we have an audience member, Joel Roth, who's come here from Eugene, Oregon. Hi, Joel. Okay, question for you, DB. Did you ever get a chance to work with actors not directly connected to your role, like Kiefer or Alicia?
No, I didn't, and I gotta say that's the one thing that was a downer. I mean, I talked with Kiefer a lot.
Do you pay attention to their storyline too?
I tried not to, so that whenever the new script came out, I would just kind of try and go to the president's world and figure out what was going on. Now, of course, sometimes I had to because the stories would intersect.
Now, something that Carlos and Reiko told us here was that you guys actually show up for each other's cell phone conversations.
Yes.
So you're not just doing, because I wondered how you could play some of those.
Which I must say is an amazing. It shouldn't be amazing, but it is. In terms of, and Kiefer did this too. Kiefer would show up on his days off to do off-camera lines for his fellow actors. That is a rare thing. It's unfortunate that it's rare, but we had a group of actors who were really very generous about the way they they treated their fellow actor. And if you can put yourself in the position of an actor who's, holding a phone in their ear, and you're being fed lines by someone who's not an actor, it makes it a lot more difficult.
Big difference.
And so our guys were really great about it, and I think the actors who were on the receiving end really appreciated it.
I got to tell you, I've never worked with an ensemble of people that were more giving, more generous with their time ever.
How do you account for that? How has that been fostered?
I personally think it has to start from the top down.
From the creators
yeah,
of the show.
Whenever you have a situation like that, it doesn't start from the bottom up. I mean, like the people who run the ship have to have something going on, and there is just something about we were talking about this out there, something about the atmosphere and the environment of 24, where people really come to work and they want to push their ego aside and just do the best work possible.
Now, you've obviously worked on other kinds of dramas. How is it different to write for 24 than other shows? Because isn't it more difficult because of the time constraints?
It's a lot tougher. I think, you get used to, in television or features, there's a time cut. And you jump a guy across town, across the world, tomorrow, 3 weeks from now. We can't do that.
Yes.
And so a lot of what we do is spend a lot of time looking at Thomas Guide maps.
Yeah, you do take liberties.
How can we get this guy? And anybody who lives in Los Angeles knows you can't go anywhere in half an hour.
No.
So it makes it tough. But I think the biggest issue is really the sense that you always have to remember each minute of script is an actual minute of the same hour, and that does make for some constraints.
All right, email question from Jesse in Oklahoma. Steve, Jack is given a lot of autonomy, beheading a witness, killing Nina and Chappelle. Do you guys worry that Jack will lose credibility or be viewed as a threat to CTU? Is he too evil?
Well, I'm glad he's on the side of the law. I mean, he obviously is, I think, one of those great flawed characters that hopefully the audience excuses what might be considered excess because they know why he's doing it.
Right,
hopefully.
Okay, in the audience, Vera. Where's Vera? There you go. All right, it looks as though Wayne left evidence at Sherry's murder scene. Will he be implicated?
Evidence? Was there something I missed?
I think it was your hands in the blood on Julia, maybe, or your fingerprint. I don't know.
No.
No.
There were
All
no
right.
fingerprints.
Yeah, he thinks he's okay.
Check that out. It's
all right.
Fine.
Okay, and Steve, will we ever find out who Nina was really working for?
Maybe. I don't know what to tell. I mean, I think that you do sometimes tend to run the danger of sort of going back to the well once or twice too often. I think that one of the things that people, if we answered all those questions, there wouldn't be anything to talk about.
Yes,
on the internet. So.
Or anything. I mean, we have to wait all the way to January, but I want to thank you guys so much for being here. D.B. Woodside, Steve Kronish, big round of applause. You guys have been awesome. All right, you can watch 24 Inside all week, and we are brought to you by The Day After Tomorrow, which opens up worldwide May 28th. Where will you be? I'm Daphne Brogdon. Thanks for joining us.
It's an event that happens once every 10,000 years. Time's Up. From the director of Independence Day.
Wall of water coming towards New York City. A twister in Los Angeles.
Happening all around the world.
This is just massive.
The storm is just going to get worse.
What should we do?
The Day After Tomorrow.
No, we'll be fine.
May 28th. Rated PG-13.